I'm Jen Mall, and welcome to Nurse Connect. I am an RN and a board-certified nurse coach. I believe that connecting with others is essential to living a happy and fulfilled life, and that sharing our stories not only helps us to heal ourselves, but also helps others by inspiring hope and optimism. I am so grateful to share stories of these incredible nurses on their journey, and I encourage you to find a way to share yours too. Thanks for listening in. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Jen Mall with Nurse Connect podcast, and today I have Michaela with me. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to have this conversation. I have already loved chatting with you off the mic, so I can't wait to see where we go today.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. Well, I'd love if you could just talk with us a little bit about how your journey in nursing got started and a little bit about what you do now.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's such like a question to unpack. It's always like the loaded question
Totally.
of like, who are you? And it's like some days I don't even know. But I have been a registered nurse by degree for about 3 years. I graduated from the University of Iowa with my bachelor's
Mm.
degree. I started as a new grad nurse in North Carolina. So I packed up all my things as soon as I graduated, took NCLEX, and moved 1,000 miles away from
Oh
all
my
my
gosh.
family, all my friends. Insert February 2020, everything shut down, probably not even 2 weeks after I had moved to North Carolina. So
Wow.
not only did I not know anybody there, I wasn't able to go out and do anything to like network or connect.
Hmm.
And I actually took the position I did because I was super excited about their new grad residency program. I like really understood the power of like being in a group of people to like
Hmm.
kind of help foster like that change. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so supported in this new grad role. Like it's gonna be great. And then obviously like 2020 didn't happen the
Mm.
way anybody thought it was going to.
Right.
Um, so everything for my residency was virtual. I felt like I was really lacking like the
Hmm.
connection and just
Hmm.
like the transition facilitation of like, here, I see you, I support you. So it was just kind of like chaos. And I'm sure
Yeah.
anybody who graduated around that same time can relate. So I always felt like I did nursing differently. Even in
Mhm.
nursing school, I never really adopted the belief or the mindset of like, you have to sacrifice your family time or your friend time or working in order to like get good grades. Like I was an average student, but I'm an
Mhm.
excellent advocate for my patients. I'm an excellent communicator. I'm an excellent space holder. And so I
Yeah.
kind of started to figure out like how can all of these like soft skills that I really enjoy
Mhm.
transfer to, my practice as a nurse, as a bedside nurse.
Beautiful.
So I stayed at bedside for 2 years. I
Mhm.
kind of transitioned around to different units thinking, oh, maybe if I go here, then I'll feel happy. Or if I
Mhm.
go here, then I'll feel happy. And there was still always like that void that was missing. So then I was like, oh, if I go do travel nursing, then I'll be happy. It was like always like kind of chasing that next career
Yeah.
change. I got into travel nursing and I had the worst burnout I've ever experienced in
Mm.
my first assignment working straight night shift. I was commuting pretty far. It was air quotes local contract, but definitely was still a pretty lengthy commute. And I was night shift scrolling and I came across the Nurse Coach Collective. It was like, be a part of nurses who care about personal growth and, educating their patients. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is too good to be true. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think this part of nursing exists. Like I've
Right.
never encountered this. So I kind of went down the rabbit hole of figuring out what that program entailed. And I took that certification course. And honestly, it just opened my eyes to how many
Mm.
opportunities there are in nursing and really learning how to integrate the skills that I thoroughly enjoy
Mhm.
into my everyday bedside practice. So I've been at bedside for the last 3 years. I've been a travel nurse for a little over a year, and I'm actually in my transition out of full time nursing as we
Ah,
speak. So that is super exciting.
amazing.
Yeah, so that's kind of like my nursing journey.
Great. Great.
There's a lot of little caveats in between there, but yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I want to get to all those little nuggets because I know there's some other good stuff that you're doing too. So tell me a little bit about what you've been seeing with new grads over the last few years. Because I am a nurse educator and I actually worked in a new grad program in 2020 as well. And gosh, it's like heartbreaking to see our little I hate the term baby nurse, but at the same time, it's
Yeah.
like we have these little fledgling nurses that have come out during the pandemic or shortly after in the 2021 and 2022 and things were still very mucky and
Mhm.
gosh that is really tough. Now have you worked much with new grads in that space and kind of helped at all with that transition?
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite populations to work with as a nurse
Hmm.
coach and in my private nurse coaching practice, because I think there's such a big gap in that transition.
Hmm.
We get so hyper fixated on passing NCLEX and learning the skills that we really forget that, like, the center of your practice, whether you work at the clinic or you work bedside, is you and who you are,
Hmm.
and just the way that you carry yourself and the way that you steward your energy. And so that's one of my favorite things to just bring awareness to when it comes to new grads. And I find that a lot of new grads, they are so eager and so excited
Yeah.
and also very timid and afraid
Yes.
because of, I don't want to blame it on social media, but social media kind
An
of
element for
creating,
sure.
yeah, creating this like negative picture of bedside nursing and burnout. And while I do believe that those things do exist, we're not victims to a broken system. We have the
Mm.
ability at any chance, like any opportunity to do things differently. And I think it all starts with self. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of new grads just lack that self awareness of who they are, what they bring
Hmm.
to the table, and realizing that their license is powerful because of them and that
Hmm.
individual, not the skills per se. Um, so just like learning how to integrate soft and hard skills and how that translates into a career and also like career development or career opportunities. Out of my personal experience with nursing school was like bedside or die. It was like,
Yeah.
here are all of your clinical rotations. They're all going to be at bedside. You should go to bedside nursing when you graduate and have fun.
Right. But that's not the
um,
reality. There are so many
right.
options in nursing, and that's always been a blessing that I've kind of owned is that, man, I could do anything I want as a nurse.
Hmm.
And it's pretty
Yeah.
cool if you to open your eyes a little bit and expand out to what different roles could look like. And
Hmm.
that's it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think it really just takes like that curiosity mindset of like what
Hmm.
else is out there.
Hmm.
Um, you know, lack in the education system, maybe not. Maybe it's just like
Hmm.
lack of awareness and like, mm, I don't want to say discipline, but almost like,
Hmm.
just that self-awareness and that self-direction of like, you have to go out there and explore. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Right, right. Yeah, and that there is a little bit of fear that comes along with that, but that's normal and natural
Mhm.
that if you're
Yeah.
feeling a little nervous about something, but it also excites you, it's okay to kind of get curious and explore that a little
Mhm.
bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And, really just like I think something that I wish I would have done sooner is
Mm,
really sit down and take inventory of like, these are the skills that I really thoroughly enjoy doing. These are the skills that people are coming to me and asking for help with. And these are the ones that I'm like, no,
yeah,
thank you.
go with
Like,
that.
I have no desire to do that ever again. And just learning how to integrate more of those skills that do excite you. Even, it doesn't have to be a big career change. It's something you can shift in your
Yeah.
everyday practice.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah. And so kind of tag onto this, you have a podcast,
Mhm.
which I believe you started as a fairly new grad. And I imagine you probably have lots of tips and tricks and things on there for newer nurses or nurses in general. So would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my podcast is called Built to Be You. And really the center and the foundation of it is, just personal growth in being yourself and really, learning more about yourself, learning how to connect more inward with yourself. And as a new grad going through nursing, new grad life in a pandemic, I was feeling lonely and isolated. And
Hmm.
I felt like I did really well at energy management and just like
Hmm.
habits and movement and meal prepping and the little things that really do impact mental and physical health.
Yes.
And I would look around me and everybody would just be so like negative, complaining. I don't want to be here. I hate being here. I never move my body. I never meal prep. I spend every waking moment complaining. I clock in and I'm projecting all over everybody. Like
Yes.
we all can think of that person that like
Yes.
once you get onto the unit, like as soon as they clock in, they're like, oh, like watch out, like here we are,
Right.
like another day in paradise. And like while there is some like lightheartedness to that, it's also like really important to be aware of the energy that you bring. And
Hmm.
so again, like just starting with yourself and learning about yourself and how you create energy, how you manage your health, and, just learning the power of, physical movement, whether that's
Hmm.
walking, running. I'm a run coach. So, like, I'm a huge advocate
Wow.
for running and, using that as an outlet, but just finding a space for yourself to recreate energy however you need it. I think is probably one of the most important things in that transition period because it's easy to get lost or caught up in
Hmm.
this orientation and the skills checklist and all of these things. And it's like, but if you're not taking care
Yeah.
of yourself, how are you showing up to
Yes.
those things?
Yes, yes, that is one of my big messages. I had my own burnout experience, and physical movement was the thing that finally got me like that turning point where I
Mhm.
realized that like had to manage my energy better. And for me, physical movement is a huge way I do that. And so as I kind of informally coach in my organization and work with nurses, with newer nurses and experienced nurses, that's one of the biggest things. Like, what are you doing for physical movement? Oh, I walk around so much at work. I said, no, no, no. Intentional time. How are you physically
Mhm.
moving your body, and making time for that? And like you said, eating well and mentally and emotionally managing your energy. And it's just so critical to do that because you just get
Yeah.
swept up into everything.
Absolutely. And I love that you said like the intention behind the movement because I think
Hmm.
that's so, so important. And a lot of times people tend to be like, I'm already burnt out. I'm already working 36 plus
Hmm.
hours a week. You
So
want me to
hard.
do what? Like, I'm already exhausted. And it's like, I always think about like the end feeling in mind. Like, how do you
Hmm.
want to feel when you lay your head on your pillow at night? Or how do you want to feel
Yeah.
when you clock out of your shift? And then kind of reverse engineering the habits or the things or the intentions that are going to help you create that end feeling. Um,
Yeah.
and knowing that a lot of times, like, it's not going to be just the thought that gets you through. It's like you
Hmm.
really just have to take that first step, whether that's going for a walk, pushing play on a workout at home, going to the
Yeah.
gym, finding a group fitness class. Insert your parallel there, but it's so important to, especially like when you're in burnout, like the burnout talks, like the burnout is so
Exhausting.
loud.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
always going to try to be louder than
Yeah.
what you truly desire or what you truly deserve. And you just have to learn how to show up anyways.
Yeah.
And know that the showing up is going to look different.
Mhm.
It's not about like, being super mean or hard on yourself or shameful or guilty. It's like be gentle and kind
Yeah.
and still take action.
Yeah. Even if it's just one small thing, because they can be
Mhm.
super overwhelming. I've been on a personal development journey for a very long time, probably going on 5 years. So I've built up some great habits over
Mhm.
the years, and it's sustainable for me now. And so I know even on those days when I do not want to move my body, I know I will feel better after I do it. So
Mhm.
that's ingrained, but it didn't start that way. It started with
Right.
getting up 15 minutes earlier and just, doing some stretching. And so slowly over time, though, been able to add on habits. So I think sometimes people get so overwhelmed with like, oh, I've got to be working out for an hour a day and I've got to be
Mhm.
prepping all my food. And it doesn't need to be that much that quickly. Just start slow and low with your expectations and,
Yeah.
just kind to yourself. And then eventually you'll have much better habits and sustainable wellness for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. That's so true. I think that we often tend to downplay
Hmm.
the power of just like small habits. Like you said, even if
Hmm.
it's 15 minutes earlier to get up and like actually do your full like morning facial routine or,
Oh, yeah.
actually being able to like brush your teeth without like rushing through and like spitting it in the sink and running out the door.
Yeah.
It's like, just those mindful moments of just slowing down and being like, this time in this space is for me and for me only. I
Yeah.
know that I'm going to go to these next 12 hours and give, give, give. So like, what can I do just right now?
Yeah.
Something as simple as like
Love
blasting your
that.
favorite tunes on the way into
Yeah.
work. Like,
Just get yourself amped
and
up.
yeah, like, it's the little things that are super easy to do, but also super easy not to do, especially if you're not aware.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mindful moments. I just love that. It's a term that I use as well. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It's these
Hmm.
little things over time that really do add up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I, I just like and like the mindfulness also comes like from what I'm saying, like when you clock into your work, like
Hmm.
projection, like being aware of
Mm,
how your energy is impacting everybody else.
yeah.
Not to say that every day is going to be like rainbows and
Sure.
butterflies. Like you're allowed to be a human, you're allowed to have hard days,
Yeah.
you're allowed to have low energy. Um, but just taking inventory, I think is
Hmm.
really, really transformational.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about what you're headed into now. So you said you're finishing up your a travel assignment and you're moving completely away from bedside nursing?
Not completely away.
Okay.
I'm shifting away from full-time nursing.
Okay.
Um, I have just had like a lot of this like push and pull resistance
Hmm.
when it comes to just like schedule and having so many passions and projects that I'm working
Mm.
outside of bedside nursing. I was supposed to be on with my contract at the end of March, and I was like, okay, I'll just resign one more time and then I'll
Yeah.
leave. And so like I kept like moving the end date of like this will be my exit. This will be my exit. And so finally I was like, I just really had to like feel it within my body and be like, this,
Mm.
this is what I need to support my soul, my energy, my purpose,
Okay.
my passion.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I just finished my contract. What, today's Monday? I finished my contract on Thursday. So it's still kind of like settling in. Future plans is I'm just going to create a career as a nurse that I'm really obsessed with. Really
I love
focusing
that.
on doing more of the skills and projects that I'm excited about.
Hmm.
Having more control and autonomy over my schedule is like a really, really big thing for me, especially being out here in
Hmm.
Colorado. I don't want to work weekends. I don't want
Yeah.
somebody else to tell me when to clock in. And so I'm just starting to realize how much agency, I guess, we have as humans,
Mm.
especially as nurses. Like, we are incredible. We have so many opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's like we just put ourselves in this box of
Yeah.
bedside travel nursing or the clinic or, whatever. And I'm like, I'm tired of adhering to this belief
Yeah.
system.
Wow. Wow. I just love that because it's so refreshing, especially as a newer nurse. Like
Hmm.
and I think probably because of the time you came into nursing, it was pure chaos.
Yeah.
And the whole model has really shifted of
Hmm.
healthcare, or we're seeing that shift, right? And we're seeing how critical it is to care for ourselves because truly, if we're not caring for
Hmm.
ourselves, we can't really give freely to be able
Yeah.
to take care of others, even though that's where a lot of us feel very passionate about. But it's just, I love that you're like busting out of that box, and
Yes.
we don't have to conform to that just because
Mhm.
that's what's normal.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so a lot of exciting things. Like I said, I have my private nurse coaching practice, so I work with a lot of wide variety of nurses in that format. I have a run coaching business, so my business partner and I are both travel nurses currently.
Cool.
So we're excited. We have a lot of fall community events coming up. I have
Ah,
my podcast I'm working on growing. And then I'm just kind of doing like odds and ends things. I stayed PRN at the hospital that I was
okay.
at. But again, it's just like control over my schedule. I like love
Hmm.
the unit. I love the people that I work with. So, but it was just like it was like an autonomy thing. I was like, I'm ready to take
Cool.
back control of, my schedule and my life. And then I do some odds and ends things at this recovery studio. It's great free
Hmm.
services for me in exchange for being in an environment that people actually care about their health. It's like
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah. What is that? What is the recovery environment? Tell me more about that.
It's just like a recovery studio. So
Like
they
an
do cold plunge, they do
Oh,
infrared
cool.
saunas, they do mobility classes, deep myofascial tissue rolling. If you're in the Denver area, check out Upswell Studio. Shout out
Whoa.
plug. So it's great. I mean, it's just like so synergistic, especially,
Hmm.
I get to help out with some of like the community collaboration running events. So like,
Neat.
it just kind of like scratches all the itches. But the other
Yeah.
morning, it was a Saturday and I had like finished my contract and I'm like folding towels and I'm like, that imposter syndrome creeped in. Like, you did not go to school for 4.5 years to fold towels. But I was like so stoked to be there because I was
Yes.
like, the environment is so welcoming, the people are
Wow.
synergistic. And I was like, this is what it's about. It's about finding
Yeah.
ways to just fill your cup and connect with like that
Mm.
purpose and those passions and those skills. Even if it's not quote unquote using your nursing degree, there's so many
Yeah.
transferable skills.
Yeah. And I have to imagine that if you're filling up your bucket with all these other things, that when you are doing patient care, it probably makes you an even better nurse because
Absolutely.
you are so full that you are
Mm-hmm.
truly giving that
Mm-hmm.
to others. And that's a pretty beautiful gift.
Yeah, it really is. And I feel like that's been the biggest shift in the last, I would say 6 to 8 months of, still being at bedside, but,
Hmm.
learning other things that fill me up is like, sure, I have my days where, I do feel like I do struggle with burnout. Like I'm a human.
Hmm.
I overbook
Yeah.
myself. I stretch myself
Yeah.
too thin. But I'm aware.
Yeah.
And I truly do believe, yeah, I'm a better nurse, I'm a better coworker because of the way that I take care of myself and the way that I steward my
Yeah.
energy outside of work. And I just think it's beautiful that in bedside nursing gets to still be energetic and fulfilling.
Yes.
You don't have to sacrifice yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in the end, we all probably came into this profession as nurses so that we could feel that way and actually feel connected and fulfilled. And a lot of things along the way chipped away at that. So it's cool to be able to see your passion and to be able to still give that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's cool because it's like, everything kind of coexists. It's like you're not just
Mhm.
like a nurse and then a podcaster and
Right.
a mom, and they all coexist. And so there's like a lot of skills that I learn through podcasting or
Hmm.
through business that I use as a bedside nurse and vice versa. So just like looking for those opportunities to kind of like scratch that itch of like things you're really excited to do.
Yeah, super cool. Well, thank you so much. As we're kind of wrapping things up, is there anything else that you feel a burn to share with our group today?
Man, I don't know. I would just say, never settle in a career that seems
Mm,
okay or that check marks the boxes. There, like nursing is so wide and vast, and there's
hmm.
truly so many opportunities. And if you don't see it, you can create it. Um, and I think that that is one of the most beautiful things because it's like
Hmm.
the opportunities never end. They only end when you make the decision to quit looking for them. So yeah, I would say just
That's
go out
good.
there and explore.
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you, because it's so true. And yeah, sometimes it's a little scary, but there's just so
Mhm.
much opportunity out there, and it it hurts my heart when I see people really stuck in a place.
Yeah,
And I see the potential in them, and I know that they can do it. But sometimes until you can kind of see that for yourself, you are
mhm.
stuck. So it's such a great reminder that there really is endless opportunity.
So true. Awesome. Well, I
Cool.
appreciate the work that you're doing and the message that you're sharing as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. All right. It's been awesome chatting with you today, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank
Bye.
you.